Let's jump into the first story. We have this from the New York Post. Biden dismisses Uyghur internment camps because we have to keep the language family friendly.
We can't even say that word?
No, we can't.
Oh, goodness.
You can't say it.
I'm writing it in my journal.
Yeah. No joke. What's going on in China? We can't say it. But
what's the word? What's the first and last letter of the word?
I guess
starts with a G.
Oh,
yeah, it starts with a
G.
G. Yeah.
We can call them internment camps.
Oh, okay.
We can call them forceful re-education centers. We can say that women are being held down while men come in and force themselves upon the women. The women are undergoing forced surgeries and other extreme forced sterilization, as well as the forceful. This is tough.
Brutal, dude.
Yeah.
This is brutal. There's more.
We should do it in the bonus segment and just be explicit.
There's so much more. Joe Biden, when asked about this, he basically said, I'm not going to criticize them because, they got different culture. And
What?
I couldn't believe it.
What?
I could not believe it.
It makes me think of, and I always hate bringing up the Nazis. I feel like they get too much publicity as it is.
Sure.
But the way that the British appeased them, and people, like, they voted Hitler Time Man of the Year.
Oh, yeah. Was it Neville Chamberlain? Was
Neville
that the guy?
Chamberlain was like,
Peace in our time?
Yeah. Let's give them the Sudetenland. Is that what it is? And then they were like, and then if we just give them this land, they won't aggress anymore. And like, if you give these totalitarian regimes and give, you're just empowering them.
Biden is suckling the teat of communist China.
I don't know what to do because what's the other option? War? I don't know.
Okay. Do we remember back when Donald Trump mentioned that we do bad things? Remember? Yeah. And everybody was so mad that he questioned American exceptionalism, right? That is an interesting case to keep in mind when we look at this, because what happened with Joe Biden is that he negated 50 years of American foreign policy, 50 years of American political philosophy, 50 years of us developing this notion of universal human rights based on sort of postmodern American liberal values, which are meant to be universal in nature, which is why we went into Iraq, they said, which is why we went into Afghanistan, they said, which is why we went into Vietnam, they said, to push our universal American values of American liberalism. Yeah. Just in that one moment, Joe Biden introduced the notion of moral relativism. And he says, hey, they got a different culture. They do things a little bit differently, immediately negating our entire philosophical foreign policy position, immediately negating American exceptionalism, and just neutering this idea of universal liberalism. People around the world rejoice when you hear Joe Biden say something like that.
Well, his words were very important because it was almost as he was excusing the activities. He was talking about China's history. Whenever China wasn't united, they were attacked from the outside. And he talked about how this is the cultural norms. Well, if it's your cultural norm to strip down and have men forced on women, to have forced sterilization camps, internment camps, I'm trying to watch my words here.
Unrequested insemination.
Yes,
There you go.
that's one way
Nailed
that
it.
we could say it. If we're going to have something like that excused as a culture, that's absolutely inexcusable, and it's extremely dangerous, not just for the Uyghur Muslims, but for all the other people that are going to be under the Chinese umbrella. And because of the Belt and Road Initiative, because of China's goal to become the #1 hegemonic power, a lot of people are going to be subjugated under China in the near future.
What you just said, Jack. What did you
I said that Joe Biden neutered American exceptionalism.
No.
Oh.
I'm talking about
unrequested insemination?
women are being held down. So this news broke. A witness came out and said that her job in the camps was to basically pin the women down while the men came in.
Take their clothes off, and then, this was reported by the BBC,
Force
by the way.
themselves upon them.
Yeah.
We also got numerous reports that many of the women who, on their own, of their own volition, became pregnant, had the Chinese government paramilitary forcefully end those pregnancies.
So they're
forcefully sterilize.
They're trying to sterilize the Uyghur population, but force the Han genetic code into other Uyghur women.
Yes.
There's also videos of children being taken away from their parents and then being told to repeat that the Chinese government, the Chinese state, the Chinese country is their mother now. So what's happening right now, especially with some of the drone footage that's been leaked of individuals being hooded and put on trains, is absolutely terrifying, especially when you see the larger response, especially when you see on Twitter an embassy from the Chinese government officially say that it's women's rights that they're promoting, women's
Right.
equality and women's freedom when they have these forced sterilizations on them. That's the kind of like crazy, insane, woke language that they're trying to use to justify this. And you just saw Joe Biden usher and utter CCP, Chinese Communist Party talking points to the American public like it was normal.
Where did he
let
get
me-
the talking points from?
I'll say two things. The first thing is we had China Uncensored on the show.
Yes.
And they said this. The Biden administration has people involved that like what China is doing in terms of their expansion and have praised them. Now I want to read you what Biden said. They say, here's a quote. Let's read the quote. I point out to him, no, I'm assuming this is Xi Jinping, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. The U.S. president continued. And so the idea that I am not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China and Taiwan, trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. Xi gets it. Culturally, there are different norms that each country and their leaders are expected to follow. The norms in China, as shown in a recent BBC News expose, include systemic torture and, as we mentioned, women being held down and men, coming in and forcing themselves in these concentration camps. Following the release of the BBC report, China banned the outlet in its territory.
Wow.
Because it is happening.
Yeah, there's also a new rule in China where bloggers have to get a government-approved license and credential to talk about politics and foreign policy. But you could still talk about entertainment, food, and beverages.
Hey.
So that's
Wait,
some of the new rules.
where is that?
China.
Oh, in China.
In China, they instituted
It was
new
it was
policies.
close enough
Yeah.
to being like, that just happened in the U.S. for me to be like, wait, hold on a second.
It sounds like what Biden's saying is the only reason he's going to talk disparagingly about what they're doing is because he doesn't want to lose his job.
Exactly right. He has to reflect the norms of his country
Yeah.
to stay president. Whereas also he was saying that
Gee,
Xi,
yeah.
he also has to reflect the norms of his country.
Well, China's influence is very vast. They're not only expanding all over the world, but they're expanding with a lot of multinational billionaire corporations that do have a big influence in the United States, whether it's Nike, Apple, Disney, you name them. The ties of the Chinese money goes to universities, goes to a lot of our key institutions that set policy. So are we at a stage, and I think we should be seriously asking ourselves where the Chinese have already infiltrated us successfully and are dictating policy?
And you got to...
And that's not a crazy question to ask. I
Dude,
think that's a
they're-
legitimate question to
They're
ask.
all over the place. Just when Corona was breaking, was that scandal of the CCP agents at Ivy League institutions
Yep.
as spies.
Carrying viruses through the U.S.
Yeah.
illegally. Yeah, this story was I thought it was going to be a bigger story.
Yeah.
That people who were spies for the Chinese government were smuggling in viruses. No joke.
I hate that the CCP is considered the Chinese government. That's like calling the Nazi Party the German government. And they like co-opted that country through violent takeover and subterfuge. And the like Mao's communist revolution basically seized control of that country with a monoparty.
Well, they rule with an iron fist. They have a social credit score. You say the wrong thing in some jurisdictions in China, they will take you, put you in a police room, tie you down, and make you apologize on camera, doing unspeakable things to you. Again, it was surprising also to see a response from Naomi Wolf surrounding this particular issue. She wrote that she wanted her vote back, specifically after seeing this video with Joe Biden.
She's not the brightest.
But again, another thing, I did a full video about this on We Are Change, but I talked about this because people are always expecting a hot war between China and the United States because we're already at a currency war, a trade war, and the next logical step is a hot war. But I think the war is already being fought, and it's fought with this larger context of generational warfare. It's here, in my opinion, and if you look at what is happening in our schools, the United States is losing. It's losing badly, not just with the suicide rates, not just with the increases of mental health crisis in our schools, not just with the increases of depression, but even with masculinity. You see China actively trying to make their boys more masculine. In the United States, we have a lot of universities, a lot of schools talking about how masculinity is, of course, toxic. And Joe Biden just even got rid of a directive that ends transparency of the Chinese government with their ties to American universities.
You guys ever play that video game Civilization?
Yeah.
I played the original.
Me too.
Civilization 2 is
All
my
of them.
favorite.
It was awesome.
But I have, I think, what are we on, 6 now?
Yep.
One of the ways you can win is called a cultural victory.
Yeah.
It's where you generate culture that spreads across the planet and seeps into all the other nations. And obviously, life imitates art, art imitates life, and all that stuff.
Blue jeans and rock and roll, baby.
In the game Civilization, you can win the game by having your culture dominate the world. It doesn't matter if you can control the government of these countries, because your culture, the ideas that spread, essentially dictate the behaviors of the individuals. Another thing that happens in the game is that if you have cities that are surrounding other other countries' cities, and your culture is just you're mass producing it, eventually those cities request to join your nation, or you can lose your city. I bring that up because it's just art imitates life, life imitates art.
The culture war, man.
Right now in the United States, we have the NBA praising China, defending China. This was a big scandal. We have NBA banning free Hong Kong jerseys, suckling the teat of China, not the United States. In the United States, we believe in free speech. We support the right of the people in Hong Kong to protest. Why would this massive multinational corporation, now surprising, it's funny the NBA has become that, why would they side with China over us? Because we already lost. That's it.
China even released statements supporting Black Lives Matter protest in the United States. Joe Biden, one of the first things he also did was sign an executive order banning the term China virus as soon as he came into office. But of course, he keeps talking about the UK variant for some reason and doesn't really understand the larger kind of context surrounding that. But, we have to understand, Joe Biden also made a statement a couple years ago. We knew this was coming. Everyone saw this coming. I mean, anyone paying attention saw the writing on the wall. A few years ago, Joe Biden said that a rising China is a positive development. He put in a lot of people in his State Department that also believe in a similar idea that China rising on the world stage, helping out the global economy is going to be good for everyone's pocketbooks.
Not just theirs.
And exactly. And exactly the people that they serve, since Joe Biden is a career politician that is known for always selling out the people.
All right, I got 2 things to say about China. You mentioned the word masculinity. I can't let that go. So I'm going to chime in on that. But the first thing I'm going to say is that the saddest, most disgusting part of this whole thing about China is how are they financing the Belt and Road? How are they financing all
multinational corporations?
No, where did they get the money, dude?
Yeah, special interest.
No,
Billionaires.
U.S. dollars from us, dummies. From all of us buying things from China and sending them U.S. dollars. They are mercantilist. They have stockpiled U.S. dollars and U.S. assets, and now they're using them to buy up hard assets. So, guys, we have traded ports, airports, transportation hubs, infrastructure for cheap Chinese televisions. Now, the second thing I want to say is if China is advocating masculinity for its men, they know masculinity is a Lindy value. Masculine people build, create, protect, provide, and instruct. That sounds like a winning combination for civilization. In America, what do? The American Psychological Association deems masculinity toxic, risk-taking, competitiveness, aggression needs to be medicated and therapeutically removed from children. We have a formal demasculinization policy in America to make us weak, to make us less builders, less of creators, less of protectors, less of providers, less of instructors, whereas China knows that that's where the money is and that's where the power is. And so they're advocating it. This is a new twist that I was not aware of.
And it's been in the works for a while, especially if you look at the testosterone rates and the fertility rates in the West, especially in the United States, that are absolutely dropping.
Testosterone rate, group testosterone levels are down. Fertility and sperm rates sperm counts are down. And we got railed for this last time I talked about grip strength on this show.
We did?
Yeah, some guy made a video and just was mocking us the whole time. It was like he got like 20,000 views on it. It was funny.
Hey, good for him.
All about grip strength. Yes, group grip strength is down. Why is that important? Because it is a factor, it is a data point that shows that men are weak.
Apparently, hanging from tree branches will help.
It does, but we don't do that anymore because we keep our boys locked up inside, medicated, restricted, and we tell them that competitiveness and aggression and winning is bad. Everybody gets a medal.
What's this company you mentioned that has said the masculinity is toxic?
What's the company?
The
American Psychological Association. The largest mental health professional association in America believes that masculinity is toxic and must be treated.
Oh, that's gross.
It's disgusting. It's everywhere. And by the way, last bit of the rant. It is at the heart of the feminist argument, right? All societies have been patriarchal. All patriarchal societies are oppressive. Where does this patriarchal power come from? Men. What fuels that? Masculinity, masculine energy. How do we end oppression? How do we end patriarchies? We got to eliminate masculine energy. And that is why to be masculine today is to be a pariah, is to be a political dissident. And if you believe in this, come check us out. Liminal Order.
Very cool.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.